sewing friends, welcome to my sewing room. My name is Beth and it's nice to be with you today. It's always fun to sew with friends. Today is the last day of our little Christmas quilt along. Every week I have been posting a video of a block. I have a plan for a quilt and I'm working on the quilt and kind of taking you along with me. So today is the last block. Here it is. It has a few different names. The name that when I found it, it had the name Old Maid's Puzzle. But then when I looked around some more, it had some more names. Fox and Geese, Crosses and Losses, Bow Tie Variation, Goose and Goslings, and maybe there's more, I don't know. So I figured out how to get it to be the size we need. This is a 10.5-inch block right now. That's unfinished, and sometimes they'll say finished is 10 inches because you lose a ½ an inch when you sew everything together. So here's our block. Let's get started. For our block today, I need a large 6-inch red square, just one, and then I need some background squares. I need 4 3.5-inch background squares and 4 3-inch background squares. And then I need some green. I just need 3 squares of green that are 3.5 inches. So I had some leftover green and I will be cutting 3 3.5-inch squares from there. So I'll have 2 leftover 3.5-inch squares for the block I'll be making, but first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my half square triangles, and I need 3 of each, 3 backgrounds and 3 greens to make my half square triangles. And I'm going to lay my green squares down, and I will put the background fabric squares right on top, right sides together, and I'll draw a line. Isn't that fabric cute? Just a super sweet bunny holding a carrot, really old-fashioned. Now I'll draw a line corner to corner, and then I'll be sewing on either side of that line, cutting it down the middle, and then I'll have 6 half square triangles for our block today. After pressing all of my half square triangles, I trimmed them all to 3 inches. And then I will be working on making some little 4 patches with my half square triangles. I want to point those green triangles at each other, and then I'll add the 3-inch background squares on the other 2 corners. And there's my 4 patch, and I need 2 of these for my block. I have those ready. I'm going to cut that big red square, that 6-inch square. I'm going to cut it in half diagonally and set it aside. I'll take my 2 3.5-inch squares that are left over, and I'm going to cut those in half. Now I want to warn you, those edges are bias edges now on those little triangles, and they will be on the edge of our block, so we want to be careful as I put this together. I'll mention I'm not going to be pressing this a lot until I get it all together, just so it doesn't stretch out. First thing to do is to arrange these 3 pieces just like this, with the green in the center and those 2 triangles on either side. And then I want to put the triangle with the corner even with the bottom of that half square triangle and sew through. And you'll see I have a little excess hanging over that triangle, has a little tail on the top. That's okay. Then I'll put this triangle on the left side, making sure that it lines up with the corner of that half square triangle. I'll sew along one side, and then I will trim off that little bit that's hanging off the end. And like I said, that on the right is all bias, and it will stretch out if you're not careful. So I'm not taking it over to the ironing board right now. I'm just going to finger press my seams, and I will lay that big triangle right on top of my red triangle and sew along the edge, 1/4 inch seam, and we're almost done. We'll make one more of these, and then we can arrange our block. After pressing this part of our block, these two pretty red and green squares, we're going to arrange our block here, Old Maid's Puzzle. And before I do that, I wanted to mention you probably want to check, I always want to check that my squares here are the right size. After all that sewing, things may have just gotten bigger, too big or too small. It should be 5.5 inches. All 4 of these pieces, the 4 patch and these pieces right here, need to be 5.5 inches. And it helps if you do a teeny tiny bit of trimming just to make sure everything's going to come out just right. Here's our pretty block, and this time we only need one. So now we have all the blocks that we need for our Christmas sampler, and in the future I hope that I can show you how I'm going to put mine together with the alternate block, which is right there. We need 12 of those alternate blocks and 7 different sampler type blocks. So all of these the information will be on a playlist on my YouTube channel, and I also have some patterns on my blog. So thank you for sewing with me today, and I will see you next time.